So I was deposing a witness last Wednesday, and opposing counsel, who had been surfing on the internet on his phone during most of the deposition, which is not uncommon, asked to take a break, and I asked him, "Are you okay?" And he literally says to me, and I quote, "I don't know. The president is leading a rebellion. They are all over the Capitol building." It was a strange week indeed. You know, it's weeks like these that make me think law school messes up your brain a little bit. You start to look at everything like it's a legal case. It's not normal. If you have 5 or 10 minutes, let's do a legal analysis of this week of coups, sedition, and impeachment. Oh my. Toto, we are not in Kansas anymore. So this Wednesday began with the president's speech to his supporters near the Capitol just before Congress was going to certify the electoral votes for President-elect Biden. Unfortunately, as we know, right after this rally, the supporters marched on the Capitol building and then into the Capitol building. A young lady was shot and killed. Apparently, a police officer also died from injuries. Tragic. So the first legal issue that jumped out to me, having the messed up mind of a lawyer and knowing what happened after the speech, is did the president commit a crime by inciting the violence that ensued? Now, apparently, ABC has a lawyer on staff because they jumped all over that possibility.
Do you think that President Trump committed any crime here? And what about protections for free speech?
I think he possibly did commit incitement to violence. I think there's at least a real case that he did.
ABC, ever hopeful. Incitement to rebellion or insurrection is a federal crime codified in 18 U.S.C. 2383, and that would be the federal crime that ABC is probably referring to, and the law is fairly straightforward in how it is written. It says, "Whoever incites others to insurrection is guilty of a crime and may not hold any office under the United States." This is the law that the Democrats have latched onto. There is another law that makes it illegal to incite to violence, but it doesn't have that last phrase in it about the person not being able to hold office anymore. You know, say what you will about her, but the speaker is not stupid, Ms. Pelosi. Anyways, incitement cases go back a long way, and the courts have always struggled to apply incitement laws because they involve such a struggle between free speech and statutory law. In 1919, Justice Holmes wrote the clear and present danger standard, which is still the law today. A prosecutor must prove that the speech, in the context it was given, created a clear and present danger that it would cause the evils that the law is meant to prevent. In the same opinion, Justice Holmes made up the famous example of someone yelling fire in a crowded theater as an example of speech not protected by the First Amendment. Now, I talk in more detail about that in my vlog on free speech. Check it out. So, did the president commit a crime? And here, just to foreshadow our next topic a little bit, this is very important because new articles of impeachment are coming out on Monday, and this is the crime they are impeaching him for: incitement to insurrection. So, now that you know the statutory and case law, what did the president say?
All of us here today do not want to see our election victory stolen by emboldened radical left Democrats, which is what they're doing, and stolen by the fake news media. That's what they've done and what they're doing. We will never give up. We will never concede. It doesn't happen. You don't concede when there's theft involved. Our country has had enough. We will not take it anymore, and that's what this is all about.
Okay, he really gave an hour speech, and that's kind of one of the best highlights I could find. But did the president say, go and riot and break into the Capitol building? No, of course not. But that's not the law. The law is whether the president's words created a clear and present danger of an insurrection taking place. This would be a case of circumstantial evidence, but it can still be a good case. It just matters how much circumstantial evidence you have. In this case, prosecutors could use the president's prior speeches, the setting, the hype, whether there were people in the crowd with signs calling for violence, etc., etc. All those things could be brought into evidence. And you could also bring into evidence that he didn't really try to stop the incursion into the Capitol building afterwards or while it was happening. I think that would go to his mens rea. But I think the president's words alone, without context, don't get you to incitement. You won't be found guilty of incitement for the words alone. So I don't know if this was incitement. Now, what do you think? Let me know in the comments. So moving on from the incitement, I was then surprised yesterday to see that the Democrats this coming Monday were once again going to bring articles of impeachment against the president. Why was I so surprised? Because he only has like 10 days left in office. I did a vlog on Trump's first impeachment 2 years ago where If I may toot my own horn a little bit, I told you it would fail, and I told you exactly why. Impeachment is a two-part process, very difficult. First, the House votes on whether to impeach, the equivalent of indicting someone in a criminal case. If a majority of the House votes in favor of pressing charges, the Senate holds the trial, the House prosecutes the case, kind of like the prosecutors, and they appoint impeachment managers and such, and the senators act as the jury, and the president is traditionally allowed to mount a defense with a lawyer of his own choosing. That would be interesting to watch Rudy Giuliani doing that. The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court oversees the trial as the judge. Now, there's just no way I see this happening on a difficult charge like an incitement charge in 10 days. It's just not possible to have a trial in that time frame. So, what is the other option to remove the president from power, and something that's even more interesting? It's the 25th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, Section 4. The 25th Amendment to the Constitution, passed in 1967 in Section 4, allows for the Vice President and the President's Cabinet to vote that the President is, quote, unable to discharge the powers and duties of the office. Normally there are 15 cabinet members, and have you noticed this, that last week 2 or 3 of them have quietly resigned? Interesting. Now, the 25th Amendment has never been invoked before, but as soon as the vote takes place, the transfer of power is automatic, and the Vice President becomes acting president, stripping the president of his power, but not his title, and this happens right away. All the cabinet members have to do is send the letter to Congress, and it happens instantaneously. Now, the president can object, and then Congress has 21 days to deliberate and then vote on it, but that takes us well past the natural end of Trump's term. So, with impeachment not looking possible, this is the avenue I'd be looking out for, especially with the recent divide between the president and the vice president, and the interesting timing of cabinet resignations. If the play here is to remove Trump's presidential powers, that's the play. Now, after this week, nothing would surprise me. What do you think is happening? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching. And if you can, put your phone down, go outside, look up in the sky. It's a beautiful world.